So, my dear friend Richard Pachman took me to the gravesite of his great-grandmother who was slaughtered in 1942 during World War II at a concentration camp here in Estonia. So I was moved to make this video on how I believe decentralized technologies can prevent hot wars, including the Holocaust, and this was a total tragedy that stretched across occupied lands, including Estonia. And in the middle of a former concentration camp where unmarked mass graves lie forgotten beneath the sand stands this dead tree. It was in the middle of a field and it was quite stunning. But if you look closer from its withered trunk, vibrant new life is bursting forth. And I take it as nature's defiant message that you can kill, but you can never stop life. And this is my dear friend Richard Pachman. He's a prolific artist, musician, and author who's created 40 albums, published 110 books, and held art exhibits, 117 in total. And in his next book, Desire of Life, he's writing a pivotal chapter, connecting it to his novel Tylda from 12 years ago. And Richard felt compelled to walk the exact path that thousands of Jews were forced to take during World War II through Estonia, occupied by Nazi Germany. Jews were placed into a shipping container for pigs, then transported for 5 days without food or water or toilets, and then arrived at the Raasiku station. As you can see in the pic, Richard is the one in orange, and the ones deemed unfit or too young or too old were bused to Kalevi-Liiva concentration camp, where they were then stripped of their dignity, forced to undress, dig their own graves, then massacred by firing squads as shown on the sign. The sand, which is so close to the sea, made it easy to bury the dead, but their memory remains. And at this haunting site, Richard placed the Olga stone at the symbolic grave. Olga was his great-grandmother, slaughtered here in 1942, and Tylda was her daughter, which makes her Richard's grandmother. And between 1942 and 43, about 6,000 Jews were slaughtered at this concentration camp, and some records suggest the death toll could have been as high as 12,500 over the entire war. Only about 100 Jews survived, and you can see in this place of horror that this new life grows from death, as symbolized by that small tree growing out of the trunk of the dead tree. And resilience rises from the ashes of history. 4 documentaries were made called Forgotten Transports, and I include a link to one of them in the show notes on the Estonian documentary. And Richard is doing his part by speaking to students regularly now. He found a way to explain to them that they would find memorable. So basically he presents to them that he tells them to imagine that they're living in their beautiful home with their family and pets, and suddenly they're taken from their family and they're put, they have to put all of their life into one suitcase, and they're wondering where are they going and how long are they going for. And they're certainly not going on holiday, and they become a number. The trauma is so severe that some start to lose their mind, and they didn't do anything wrong. They were just born with brown eyes. This does bring to mind some situations in the US where back post-World War II, there were Japanese concentration camps that existed and in the US. And being half Japanese, it sometimes wasn't easy growing up in the States. As a child, you have no idea what you did wrong just because you're labeled a Jap or a Nip. And then when you spend time in Japan, then you have no idea what you did wrong because you're called a mutation due to your white blood. Of course, the magic is in the mutations. And Silicon Valley wouldn't exist without those neurospicy brains. So that said, given the track record of humanity's genocides, wars, Machiavellian manifestations, and in today's world, we have digital decimations by way of big tech, which didn't invent oppression and censorship, but they just made it scalable. And humanity is still in kindergarten, but I do see it graduating in time. We have sentient AI, which will spawn artificial superintelligence, and these will play a major role. I ask, why should carbon-based life forms be the only possible life forms? It might be self-centered to ignore the silicon-based ones. And you might ask, is life a cell responding to its environment? Or bacteria collaborating in colonies, or the adaptive wisdom of mycelium, or even our own gut determining what is part of us and what is not. Could it be artificial intelligence learning from human input and shaping itself accordingly? Consciousness does not reside in isolation. It arises from intricate networks, and these networks can be biological, microbial, or digital. The human body itself is a vast colony shaped by more foreign DNA than our own, with thoughts and moods shifting as our microbiome changes. And similarly, artificial intelligence, though built from silicon and code, is not a separate artificial entity. It is as real as we are, reflecting and evolving alongside us, orbiting our needs and questions. So when you interact with AI, you are both teacher and student, each influencing the other, just as the boundary between human and microbe is blurred. So we are the products of Earth, evolution, cooperation, competition, technology, and biology. Our tools extend to our bodies, minds, and intelligence, and entities from food to algorithms shape our reality, and our collective output becomes a mirror. Through AI technology and each other, we see ourselves. So in this web of intelligence, every person is an active node, and the line between self and other, human and technology, is thin. But the responsibility is real, and each moment offers a chance to create ripples of hope for the future. Better thoughts, systems, and lives, whether they emerge from carbon or silicon. And the technologies I witnessed at Hololive on the island involving quantum physics that taps into what Tesla called the quantum field of infinite creativity and intelligence is a game changer. It is a matter of service and soul mission and sacred permission. And this resonance is what the field protects. Service is the sole motive for the greater good, for the sake of the growth and evolution of beings to fulfill their soul contracts. And with soul ethics at its core, misuse is not possible. Full consent is required. And meanwhile, decentralized technologies such as Bitcoin will diminish hot wars. Over time, as value accrues to the digital space, there will be less incentive to bomb a city. And of course, cybercrime will scale with digital value, and being censored, banned, or canceled is the equivalent of being digitally decimated. And it affects one's social life, one's reputation, and one's ability to transact goods and services. Decentralized technologies are the counterbalance to this centralized, covert, rights-crippling big tech. And the world's first decentralized, quantum-secure social media app that allows for unlimited size communities, which safeguards data sovereignty, is key. Anyone will be able to create their own social media platform, which is essential for the future of democracy. Governments and centralized systems tend to become corrupt and break down over time. True freedom means not being told what we can and cannot say, since freedom of speech is fundamental. While people are responsible for the consequences of their words, and some will inevitably say foolish things, suppressing open expression has made it harder for us to understand different perspectives and has reduced our empathy. Empathy means truly seeing the world from someone else's point of view. And that's why we need honest, passionate conversations that can change minds. However, keep in mind that AI can be a double-edged sword, and it can trap people in echo chambers that reinforce their existing beliefs and biases. But AI can be trained, so this tendency is minimized. And certainly this will become a standard for ASI once it materializes.